With more art posts comes more question as to whether it is legitimate or not. So let's delve into a little more exploration because there are some people questioning on the internet. And if you see my hand doing some funny things like this, it's because my fluffy cat, Corn, is on my lap and he really, really, really wants head pats right now. So feel free to comment, hi, Corn, and with every 10 comments, I'll give him a fish. Not really, because the vet says he's a little overweight, but the thought is there. So we are in r/is this AI, and a user writes, from a friend's Instagram, did she really go out of her way to make work in progresses? Or am I judging the yellow tint too hard? So here we have a drawing of an old woman. This looks to be kind of more of a pencil sketch. She's wearing large pearls around her neck, and it is a bit of a work in progress. Now, I think this is a bit interesting because, like, now again, I want to add a disclaimer. Everybody has their own art process. So some people will draw in one specific way, other people will draw in a way that works for them. Oh my god, my cat is drooling all over my left hand. Do you see that drool dripping out of the corner of his mouth? Sorry for the interruptions. The art process of this one is just a bit odd to me personally because it's kind of like the drawing is split down the middle in terms of a transition. The very left side of the drawing looks to be fully rendered, and the more right we go, the less like fleshed out the drawing is for some reason. Typically when people render, they'll either render like a little bit by little bit, they'll do like some flat shading first, then they'll add some darker shadings over the entire piece, then they'll go another pass through and then erase away stuff for highlights. You don't often see people render like left to right with no reason. Only the left half of the dress is rendered. Only the left half of the face is shaded. The other half just isn't. And there really is no reason for why this would be done. So now we have the next frame where it's like that again, but now it's more rendered. The elderly lady is now a little bit more fleshed out. We have more rendering done for the clothing, but once again, it's only for like the left 3/4 of the drawing. Her whole right sleeve is just not fleshed in yet. That's a really odd choice. A big one again, like people always say, I always say, when it comes to like, is this generated or is this legitimate, is would a human do this? Like, why would a human only render 2/3 of this piece? For the dress, the right sleeve is not rendered, but the left sleeve is. And then we have the final piece, and the final piece is completely finished. And now everything is completely rendered in. The rendering process just literally makes no sense. Now, a couple other things that I notice are odd is that this is supposed to be a black and white pencil sketch, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. Super, super faint. It's like an aura of blue and a ring of pink around it. If this is a pencil sketch, why is there green and pink in the background? And the green and pink isn't to add color, but in more so, it kind of looks like AI accidentally added extra colorings to this piece. Now, the woman is wearing a dress with stars on it that kind of look a little bit like starfish. There's a bunch of little dots in between the stars, and the dots don't quite make sense. Again, is it artifacts? Is it not? And then we have the whole thing of her ear is somehow connecting into the pearl necklace. This doesn't look human made at all. And the scratches in the background for the shading for the background, it all is this random like crisscross chicken scratch. It doesn't look like an actual hatching or cross hatching technique that pencil artists would use. And this is a post on Threads by user Dancing Pebbles that I think is really helpful, where they have a little tutorial on how to spot AI hand-drawn art, or art that is supposed to look hand-drawn. We can see this is their artwork. You can see the cross-hatching details they're marking here. And with AI pieces, you can see there's no fine lines and there's no like direction for the pen strokes to go. Another point they make, line number 3, work in progresses. Some AI users fake work in progresses by erasing parts of a piece to make it look unfinished. And yeah, I mean, this is most definitely giving that, right? The cross hatching that is happening has no direction, no sense of like movement. It's all over the place, left, right, up, down, 90 degrees, like 87 degrees, like and again, this is having the eraser effect where like for some reason this other chunk of the dress is not rendered, but everything else is. So let's see what the commenter said. Top comment says, that is so ChatGPT. That style of scribbling shadow is an identifier at this point. Various details change throughout the 3 photos. This also doesn't look like a normal progression. Another user says, the eye on the left, her right, looks like it's looking in 3 different directions. Another user says, that doesn't look like how drawing works. Normally the detail builds up all over. It doesn't sweep in from the left. And OP adds a context writing, it's the only art on her page. So yeah, if she did it for no reason, there's many obvious tells, but she's a singer, artist, and creative person. So I was kind of gagged and looking for an explanation. And I think this being a one-off adds extra context because we know that it's not an artist who just has a history of drawing like this. It's one random piece. Another user says, I really like her left earring, just kind of turns into her necklace. My favorite kind of jewelry. So the overall community vote is AI. So next up, a user writes, Art University entrance exam post. So they recently put this out and everything looks correct, but the yellow piss filter, I just can't tell. So let's take a look at the photos here. So we have what looks like a bunch of art stuff, right? There is a canvas with a head kind of like leaning against a wall, another canvas behind that. There is a mason jar full of different paint brushes. And then there are 2 pencils on the table as well as little tube of acrylic paint and then a little clay shape. And there is another set of photos. This one is like a director's chair. There is a mask laying on the floor and there is a light on a tripod kind of behind it. So very, very, very interesting. One thing that people have pointed out is another way to go verify as to whether an image is AI or not is if the geometry makes sense. So here this graphic reads, to verify images, digital forensic investigators will check whether the geometry is realistic. In a real photo, lines that run parallel in reality like floor tiles, should meet at a single vanishing point. In this image, however, the dotted lines don't meet at a single point, indicating it's fake. It's supposed to meet as like a single dot here, but they're all like not doing that, so they're meeting in a triangle. Here, another set of vanishing points that don't line up. Another one about shadows that don't line up. So looking at this, something to me that is a bit odd is that everything is supposed to be laying on a table. This looks like it's like a photograph with a filter on it. Maybe it's painted. Look at the line of the pencils. The angle the pencils are laying at matches the angle of this like marble slab here, but it doesn't match the angle of the tube because the paint tube, in order for this to make sense, the pencils would have to be laying at like a this angle, but the paint tube is laying at like a this angle, which means the table would have to be vastly crooked, like twisted, in order to allow both things to be true simultaneously. So going off of that, I'm not fully certain this is real. If it's a painting, whomever drew it had quite poor geometry. The top comment says, the pencil in the first image has the metal ring by the sharpened side like it's a paintbrush. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah. Look at that. That's not right. Somebody went and used a Synth ID watermark checker, where apparently OpenAI actually recently adopted that from Google. And it flagged both images as having Synth ID watermarks, which basically verifies this is AI. But here, another one, the pencil has like a brush tip coming out of the lead of the pencil. So this was also voted as being AI. Next up, OP writes, caricature artist claims that their art isn't AI. I think otherwise. And now he's trying to get me banned from my town's Facebook group. So the caricature account is called Caricature U. And they write, hi, just sharing our small business. We create custom caricature artworks made from your photos. So here it is all of their pictures, and this is the artwork they made. So going into their Facebook page, I went and dug up a bunch of art pieces that they've made. And there's already a bunch of oddities happening in it. First off, like they change mediums a fair amount, which like is that on its own isn't really like the biggest issue. They really have no consistency between their styles across mediums, and they have your standard AI issues. Here we have the blonde woman's hair, and somehow the kid's ponytail is like blending into her hair. So that's already looking a little bit interesting. We've got like really muddy eyelashes, and there's like some strands of eyelashes that are just floating. Also inconsistency in the way they're drawn. The left eye versus the right eye. The right eye has twice as many lashes on the bottom lash line as the left eye. That's odd. It's on the same person. Here is another one, and this one is even more egregious. Remember the stuff that I just talked about the hand-drawn artworks with brushstrokes that don't make sense? Because is this like a pencil drawing? Is this paint? Because the texture is around the neck and the chin area. It looks like it's supposed to be a paint texture. Like you can see that here, but it also doesn't look hand painted. Not to mention she's got one hoop earring and then one like double bauble earring on the other ear. There's no consistency also between the way the ears are drawn, and they all have like the uncanny valley dead eyes. And this is what I mean by consistency between styles, because like this is the pencil drawing. He looks a lot more realistic than her. And then here in these two drawings, these are a much more like cartoonish style. Not to mention again, the cap of this guy's hat should end here, but there's all this extra space here for some reason. Now we have the next set of drawings, which once again looks different. She's got an earring that also melts into the flesh of her ear. And again, the styles all look close, but like not quite. And the final one, and the most egregious, she's got this like curl of skin curling into her ear and random strands of hair that attach to nothing on her head. So for extra context, OP adds, I got into a bicker with this person online about how the art was obviously AI, and they're saying it's made by a graphic design team, and now they're trying to get them banned. It's so obviously AI generated. The lines are funky, the clothing details don't match up, and hell, the eye scarf is blue in some parts. Another person adds, I have beef with the same artist in my local group. Ha ha ha. Another person adds, and this is the top comment, these are in no way even caricatures. A caricature is a specific type of art. These are AI generated cartoonings of people. Shameless. Another person says, it's truly annoying when they don't even bother to fix the artifacts on their ad. This is not an is it AI post as much as why doesn't the legal system start hitting these scammers hard? And you know what? I agree. Because people, again, there's one thing about debating the ethics of Gen AI or whatever, which again, I don't agree with generative AI. But there's a whole other thing of people are just deceptively advertising and scamming people because these are being advertised as handmade, hand drawn, and they are not. They are generated. And a lot of people are not willing to pay money for generated images as they would for something handmade because they perceive handmade items to be of higher value, which I agree with. It's just deception. Also, again, I censored out everybody's faces, but a lot of people were saying that the caricatures also did not look like the original people's faces. And that's a whole other thing. And the final vote was AI. Okay, this one, really quick, it's just so funny. OP writes, is this AI? I saw this artist on Instagram. She sells expensive prints on her website. The faces are not consistent and Leo's hair is brown in some of these. This one actually cracks me up because I made a video about this person. This person had a really viral like Michael Jackson art piece, and if I remember, I'll link the video down below. She has like 3 different art styles. One that looks super glittery, where she like allegedly used ChatGPT to generate a process. And when somebody asked, oh, how do you do the glitter effects? Allegedly, she used ChatGPT to generate a response that was like, first, import your image into Photoshop, not hey, in your drawing program that you're already using to make your image. But yeah, she basically pumps like 8 of these out a day. The output alone is already suspicious, but you know, with all the other tarot cards, there was so many errors and inconsistencies. The stars, each of these stars, like what's happening over here? Why is there a fish that has 2 heads instead of a head and a tail? And there's a fish that has 2 tails instead of a head and a tail. Yeah, AI as hell. And finally, a user writes, is this AI? The combination of the extreme semi-realistic father and the extreme anime baby have kind of made me think it's AI. Or really low res. So this is the image, and it is of a blonde woman and a guy who kind of has like a fae, vampire, Dracula look to him. And they're holding a golden child between them. And the child's got these like large eyes, and they're kind of clinging onto the mom's hair. And they're both dressed in like finery. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be from like the 1700s or something like that, in a gold frame. So looking at a lot of the elements that I would look at, you know, is it AI, is it not? Is like the clothing details, the finery details, like patterns. Is there consistency to the patterns, or is it kind of like garbled up? I mean, we have this like consistent lattice work as part of the frame. In terms of the dots right on the border of the frame, these are all also equally as consistent all the way around. Has a really painterly style. I mean, everybody got the correct number of fingers going on here. I don't really see what's up with this picture. I mean, there's like brush strokes, but they do make sense in terms of the texture of the painting. It's supposed to be this very like painterly look. But yeah, I do agree the baby has like a more anime looking face than the guy. The comments are saying, this is an image from the show Castlevania. Another comment says, this is official art from the Netflix Castlevania series. It's from around 2017 and is not AI generated. So they add the baby is Alucard and the father is Dracula. Mother is a human, and the artist is Katie Silva. And for extra context, a user had linked this where the full art piece was posted to r/Castlevania 7 years ago. So most definitely isn't AI because it came out before AI existed. So that's the run through. What was your score? Did you get everything correct? Did you get everything not correct? Let me know in the comment section down below. And with that, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there like emotes and overlays, frog emotes for y'all. I also have a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. PST, where I do a podcast with my friend. So I hope to catch you all there or in another video. Peace.